Awesome. Okay, so welcome everyone to MS Views and News, our Pilates class. My name is Bree. So for class today, please first and foremost always listen to your body, making sure you have some water nearby or something if you need to sip on or take rests as you need. So with that band starting in your hands a little wider than shoulder distance apart, we're going to sit ourselves up against the back of our chair with your feet planted firmly. If you can't scooch back and plant your feet, find a Goldilocks for your body so that you can lift yourself up against the back of your chair. Sit up nice and tall and feel as if you're going to stand into your feet. So pressing your feet down, feeling your legs starting to engage. And then as you inhale, lift the arms up overhead. As you exhale, lower the hands back down onto or by your side, onto the thighs with the band or belt, and lifting back up. So starting from the top up, warming up the shoulders, the neck. How far back or how far up can you lift those arms without feeling like you are arching the spine or flaring your ribs? So keep everything that you can attached to the back of your chair. Let's go for 2 more. And 1 more. Okay, then after your hands come down, keep that tension into your band and keep pulling it apart as you bring your left ear to your left shoulder. Lift back up, and then right ear to right shoulder. Again, listening to your body, making sure you're not going too far into those movements. Nod the chin down towards your chest. And then very gently lift the chin up towards the ceiling. Instead of feeling like you're dropping your head back, I want you to feel like you're pushing something up with your chin. Come back to look center. Turn and twist to look left. Keeping that tension onto the band, turn and twist to look right. Good. Then from there, with the arms, not the arms, the band, you're going to relax that band. You're going to place it around and coming in front so that it's right at your rib cage level. Okay, so I've crossed the band and I'm taking the opposite ends of my band into the hands. You can lean back against that chair again, just make sure again your feet are planted, or you can sit yourself away. So the goal of this band here is to feel how as you breathe in, you're going to feel this expanding of your ribs. As you breathe out, try to like tighten a little bit more through your band or belt. As you're breathing, watch that you're not lifting your shoulders and your hands are holding taut and tight into that band. Holding and squeezing your elbows next to your side. One more breath in. And final exhale out. So that band is now going to go down about belly button level. So keeping that same tension or tautness into your band, not that you're trying to like squeeze and like cinch off your waist, but just enough so that you do feel that feedback of your band or your belt. So elbows are tucked in tight, shoulders are rolled down the back, spine is nice and tall, feet are really heavy. As you breathe in, notice the belly expand. As you breathe out, try to pull that band a little bit more to feel how that tension and tightness gets a little bit more of the abs to turn on, the core. So repeat that 4 more times. And so feel if your band wasn't here, you can still get that constriction, that engagement of your core. 2 more breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Try that 1 more final time. Keep sitting tall, lifting tall, and exhale out and away. All right, so then just let that band rest down your hands. You can like wiggle them out if you need to. And we're going to start to work a little bit more through the legs. So first, lift and lower your heels. I need to tilt my screen down a bit, but actually you can see my feet. So as your heels are lifting and lowering, you're still focusing on staying lifted and tall. So if you want to challenge yourself, scooch away from the back of your chair and make sure it doesn't feel like you're arching or that you're rounding through your spine, but instead you're lifting tall as your heels lift and lower. All right, so then from there, push your heels down. You may have to walk your feet out a little further in front of you if you need to lift your toes up. lower the foot, lift. So as this is happening, you're thinking of an antenna coming out of the top of your head and one of those like retractable antennas like on old radios. Think of that lifting up, 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 and your spine lifts with it, as do your feet, your toes, your heels stay down. Okay, so now hold your heels lifted, turn your toes out, place them down, lift your toes up, turn them in. So this is a great exercise to kind of help get that connection and that neural pathway to the muscles in front of your shins that help to lift your toes up so we don't trip over our feet when we're walking. That drop foot, that tends to happen. Okay, do one more, out to in. And then with your toes facing forward, if you slid them forward, go ahead and slide them back so your heels are back underneath of your knees. And if you need to, lean back into your chair or lean back into the space behind you. Lift your right leg like a march, lower it back down. Lift your left leg, march, and lower it back down. So as this is happening, especially if you're leaning back, not to lean on the chair, but to lean into the airspace behind you, you're going to work a little bit more abs to hold yourself upright in that hinge back position. So when I say upright, we're not curling the spine to hinge back or arching the spine to hinge back, but in that nice, long, strong, lifted position. One more on the right. One more on the left. If you are staying upright, that's still going to be challenging to lift those legs. Okay, so choose your adventure, basically. All right. So now from here, genie the arms out in front of you. So one arm on top of the other at shoulder level. We're going to rotate, twist on the inhale, lift taller, taller, taller. Exhale, come back center. I've got my thumbs hooked in my elbow pits to really press my hands into my arms into my hands. Inhale to the right. Exhale, back forward. If this bothers the shoulder or the neck at all, keep the arms together, but just lower them down. Let's try one more to the right. Exhale, center. Last one to the left. And then exhale, center. Now we add those marchings, if that's a word, marching the leg up. So if you want to hinge back, challenge a little bit more through the core. As your right leg lifts, you turn right. Lower back down, exhale, center. Inhale, lift that leg, twist, exhale, lower the leg, untwist. Two more each side. We're going to slowly continue adding on, just like onion layers here. So make sure you've got some still left in the tank. Okay, we'll do the same pattern of motion. So twist and lift to the right, hold, and reach the arms out wide to the side, keeping your shoulders pulled down and back. Bring your arms back together, untwist as you lower the leg, twist to your left, lift your left leg, open your arms, close your arms, turn center, lower down. So 3 each side, 2 more to go. Open, close, lower, untwist. Twist left, open, close, lower, untwist. Last one to the right. Try to just breathe through this, not holding the breath at any point. Just continuing to breathe. All right, so now layering in. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what's happening. As you rotate to the right and your right leg lifts, your arms will open again like we did. And as you lower the leg, you're going to try reaching back a little further, lift the leg, lift yourself up a little further, then start to undo the pattern of motion. So you'll twist left, hold, reach the arms wide, hold the leg down, pull yourself back, lift back up, bring the hands back together, and then come center to lower down. So this is why we've been doing 3 of each. So these are getting just more and more complicated. It's like rubbing your head, patting your belly, patting your head, rubbing the belly. Lean back, lower the leg, lift up, lift the leg. Come center, look forward, lower that leg. Lift, twist, reach. Lower the leg, lean back more, lift up, bring the hands back together, and untwist. Last time to the right, twist. Reach, lean back, lift, come center, and lower that leg. Last time, last side, twist, open the arms, lean back as you lower that leg, lift the leg up, come back towards center. Whew. All right, so bring your hands back onto your knees. Shoulders are probably feeling that, abs, a little bit of those legs in the front. So move some things around, like shake it off if you need to. All right, so back to your band. You're gonna bring that band, unravel it from yourself, and put it underneath of your right foot. Okay, ideally the middle of your belt or band, and you're holding as close to your foot as you can so that when you sit yourself up tall, and it's not as close to the foot, but when you sit yourself up tall, that foot is lifted into the stirrup that you just gave it. Press down heavily through your left foot, sit up nice and tall, shoulders roll down and back, and straighten that right leg out in front of you. Bend the right leg, bring it down under you, but try not to let it touch the ground. If you need to, of course, let it come down, or you can even slide your hands so that they're right next to the knee instead of closer to the foot. Okay, we got options here. But working on knee extension here to work and strengthen the quad. So every time that right leg straightens out, push your foot into that belt and then lower it back down. Stretch the heel away from your hip and then lower it back down. One more time, you're gonna hold your leg long to then lower it, your body tips forward with it, and lift it, your body tips back. So like a little teeter-totter, 7 more. Tap the heel down, lift the heel up. Inhale forward, exhale back. Resisting the urge to kind of lean to one side or let yourself tilt or pull to one side. Okay, so keep everything in your lane, like a little car driving down the highway. Last 2. Still with that antenna reaching out of the top of your head, keeping your spine, the rest of your body nice and straight. Last 1. So keep that leg lifted. Bend your elbows, pull the leg higher, and you might have to slide your hands down a little lower so that you don't have to lift your leg as high as those elbows come back. So elbows will either go down right by your side into a narrow row. That's level 1. Okay, level 2, making sure you're not shrugging your shoulders up by your ears, but pulling your elbows a little wider and then reaching long. Let's try 3 more, no matter which pattern of movement you're doing. Maybe you're alternating from one to the next. Your last one. And then your right leg is going to lower down. Take that band or belt out from underneath of it and put it under your left leg. We're going to give those hands a little bit of a rest here. So just let that band or belt rest over top of your left leg. Kind of roll out the fingers, the wrists. If you need to stretch the fingers at all, you can always pull them back with the other hand. So kind of like you're saying, like, stop, you're not going any further. And then switch sides. Always resting, never taking a break, taking a rest. We don't want anything to break. All right, so then grab onto that band once you stretch out your hands, your fingers. And if that was still too much, you can always wrap the band around your hands. So I can hold it without actually gripping it. That does also matter if you like, my belt is kind of, it's very velvety, so it might slip. So depends on the band you're using. All right, so from there, I'm gonna choke down closer towards my foot so that I can get a bigger lift and kick of my left leg. You choose what your adventure is for this one. The more you're leaning your body back, not to lean and rest against the back of your chair, but to hold yourself upright with your abs, is going to challenge you a little bit more. The more upright you are, the more you're focusing on isolating just that leg. 3 more times, push the heel away from you into that band like you're trying to break it, and then lower it back down, bending just at the knee. 2. Holding the leg long on the next and last one. To then lower the leg down, I'm allowing my hands to slide to the ends of the band, to then lift the leg up as I pull my elbows back, just like a row. So sure, the arms, the back of our body is working, but can you also let the leg help in that lift? 4 more. So I was doing my high rows. I'm going for those low rows on these last 4. 3, 2. Good. And after that last and final one, The foot lowers down, release the band, and you can just lay it over top of your legs, put it down behind you. So we're gonna go through that similar series without the band down, okay? So first things first, if you need assistance, lean back into the back of your chair and hold with your hands onto the chair. You can start with your foot lifted. If not, keep it on the ground and extend the leg out. So push it on the ground. If you can keep the leg lifted, extend the leg out, just like we did with the band on your foot. Bend the knee in and push that heel away from you for 7 more. Pull back in. So if you're not leaning against the chair, you're holding yourself in that hinge back position. Hands can grab under the chair if you need to for 4. If you're upright, 3, that will isolate a little bit more through like just the quad versus quad and core if you're leaning back. Final 1, hold the leg long to lower it down and lift it up. Okay. So again, leaning against that back of your chair. If you are leaning, you're not collapsing or slouching, but you're keeping that chest lifted up towards the sky as that leg lifts and lowers. 3 more. Exhaling as I lift, 2, I'm pressing into the opposite leg as I lift, 1. Then drag that foot back in, and we got the other side here. So first, if you can't lift the leg off of the ground, you're pushing it down to push away and drag back in. Now it's not just you're going through the motions of pushing out, but imagine you're driving that foot to the ground to slide mud off the bottom of your shoe, and same thing as you're pulling it back. If your leg is hovering, you're kicking out straight, pulling back in. Let's say we've got 6 more. So if you've already started, or if you haven't yet, try to go for 6 to 8. 4. Push and kick that heel away from you for 3. Get that full leg extension or as much as you can for 2. And then hold it long, lower it and lift for 8. 7. And get curious about your movement. So you're looking at your leg, like does your foot turn out in order for you to lift and lower? Can you correct that and get into the alignment of where your big toe and your second toe, like where you put your flip-flops between, that lines up with the front of your hip. Last 2 here. And after that last one, the leg lowers down to drag the foot back in. If you're leaning back against your chair, reach your arms forward, like for like a counterweight, and then sit yourself back up tall. All right, so then let's go back to using some of our arms here, and you're gonna grab that band wider than shoulder distance apart. Press down into your feet like you're gonna stand up. Press down into your seat like you're sitting tall. With the arms reaching out in front of you, exhale this time as we twist. So keeping that band nice and taut, come back through center, lift taller on the inhale, exhale and rotate to the left. And then come back through center. Now, what I want you to be aware of and what I was always looking for or would look for as a teacher with a student in front of me is that your knees are not twisting with you. So what I'm showing you is a big no-no. Do not twist from the hips. We want to think of twisting from the waistline, from the spine. So your feet are planted for a reason, use them. Your seat is planted for a reason, use it. So as you rotate, keep everything under the hips completely still, come back through center and repeat. If your shoulders or your arms are starting to get tired, bring it closer to the chest or just drop the band. You can put your hands to heart center. 1 more right. Exhale to the left. All right, so then using that band, well, first give your arms a little rest for a moment. We're gonna add on to that movement. So we're gonna start with 3 of each as we continue onion layering in. So your band, the further away it is, the harder it is, okay? The closer to your body it is, the more sort of accessible the movement is. Doesn't mean it's easier, just means that it's a little more like doable, okay? So I'm gonna press the arms away. We're gonna twist to the right, exhale. Hold that rotation, lift the arms up. So if your arms are bent, you're pressing the arms up and then you'll bend them back down. If your arms are straight, they lower to lift or lift to lower. Then come back through center. Go all the way to the left, lift the arms up, pull back down and come over to the right. So 2 more each side. Rotate. Check on those legs. Make sure they're not twisting with you. So if you can imagine there's another band that's wrapped around your thighs, they're keeping That band is keeping those thighs in place. Last one to the right for this set. Rotate all the way around to the left. All right, so then I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what's happening. We rotate to the right, lift the arms, hold them there as you hinge the body back, come back up, lower the arms and untwist yourself. Going over to the left, lifting the arms, lowering or hinging back, move back upright to lower the arms and then untwist. Go over to the right, lift the arms, hinge it back up to lower the arms and then untwist. So as you're keeping that band nice and taut, we're working more of those postural muscles on the back of our body. Okay, keeping the chest and the collarbones nice and wide in the front of the body. Most of our population today, we're always focused on like texting or driving or eating, and we hunch ourselves forward when in those movements or in those patterns of movement. So can we open up the front of the chest, keep that strength through the back of our body, and then come back through center, rest the band down, roll out the shoulders, the wrists, the fingers. But like as you're lifting those arms, you're going to think of the shoulders rolling down the back so that the front of the chest opens rather than lifting the arms and collapsing, okay, just for the sake of lifting our arms. All right, so next layer, hands still shoulder distance or wider, lift, or sorry, no lift, right to shoulder height, twist to the right, lift the arms, we hinge ourselves back, lower the arms, lift the arms for 3, 2, we're staying in that hinge and making a little picture frame with your arms next to your head. Come back to turn center and then come back up. Okay, so that one's a little different. We twist to the left. Listen carefully. Lift the arms up, hinge back, hold, lower and lift the arms for 3, lower down to lift 2, hold the lift of your arms up 1, turn back to the center, come back up and then lower the arms down. So 2 more of those. Rotate right, lift the arms, hinge back, and lower and lift the arms for 3. So if you're going to bend those arms, you're doing like an overhead press. 2. Hold the arms overhead, untwist yourself, look center, and then come up as you lower the arms down. Left, hinge. Oops, I forgot to reach the arms. So reach the arms, hinge, then either bend and stretch overhead or lower and lift out in front of you. 2. And 1. Hold the arms up, untwist. Sit tall, lower the arms. Last time, last side. My arms are on fire. Lean it back, lift the arms, hold there to bend and stretch or lift and lower. 2. Keep pulling that band apart. Last 1, turn center, come upright, lower the bar, the band, the bar, whatever you're holding on to. Turn, lift the arms, hinge back, and lower and lift those arms. 3, 2, and uno. Center, come upright, reach all the way down for your toes. This time you're going to place that band underneath of both of your feet. Use the band for help here. So like the more you pull yourself down towards the band, the more I want you to puff up the back of your body. So eyes are kind of looking between your thighs, softening the chin towards the chest, maybe giving your head a little wobble from side to side if that feels okay. And broadening through those shoulders, like how wide can you get your shoulders away from each other? Come back through center, stack the spine tall, and let your hands slide up to the ends of your bands. Whew, really lift up tall. That feels really nice. Okay, so the band, not really going to be moving anything, but the isometric hold that we're holding is like, hope your band or belt is long enough here. If it's not, you can always step on just 1 foot instead, okay? So find the connection of where you can hold a 90-degree bend at your arm. So like from the side, you're holding here, okay? So if your band is too short, okay, then you would need to just do 1 leg holding here. 1 leg is onto that band. All right, so position yourself, holding strong into that bicep curl, elbows tucked in, shoulders rolled down and back. And it's like you're working against that tension to pull your hands to your shoulders. Try to bend your elbows more. Nothing's moving, but a lot of work is happening right now. Relax the arms. You can even straighten them out. We're going to do that 3 more times. So bend into the elbows. Try to lift your feet off of the ground by pulling that band up with your hands. So how much more can you bend your elbow, bend your elbow, bend your elbow, and then relax. Okay. From the side, still same thing, doesn't look like much is going on. Elbows squeezed in tight, hold that 90-degree bend. I'm trying my hardest to lift, lift, lift. Lifting the spine, lifting your hands, pulling your shoulders down the back, and then relax. Do that one more time. So isometric holding is still work, like you can feel it happening, but holding there, about 10 seconds, you're holding, holding, holding is like level 1, then level 2 of muscle contraction is like the concentric and the eccentric motions, what we've been doing all class. Go ahead and relax. Whew. But those isometric motions, so like at that halfway point of the bicep curl is like when you've got the most muscle contraction that can happen. So we're holding at that deep, that hardest muscle contraction to get, and then building that strength. So if you're carrying like groceries or a purse or a bag, you have that strength, that grip strength to do so as well. All right, so then your feet come off of that band. This time you're gonna loop that band underneath of your legs. Walk your legs together and then make yourself a little bow. Tie it tight. Little bow. Okay. All right, so even though I tied it as tight as I could with my legs together, there is some room with my legs where they can pull apart. So I'm really working my hardest. It's another isometric move here of pulling my legs apart. So if this is too hard or heavy, you bring your legs together, slide your band up the leg so it's closer to your hips rather than to your knees. The further away it is from the anchor point or the hip, the fulcrum, the harder it's going to be. Closer to your knees it is, the harder you're making it. Press into your feet, sit up nice and tall, open those legs out to the side. We have 4 sets of this, holding for 10 seconds, and then go ahead and relax, 10-ish seconds. Open those legs. Obviously they're not moving though. That band is nice and strong. So if you are using a resistance band and like you're not using a belt or anything else that can hold you here, you're like, your band is super taut and you're holding it and you're maybe even using your hands to press those legs out so they're not really moving, but they are working. Whew. Then relax, one more set to press out, sit taller, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so then scoot your booty forward as far to the front edge of your chair as you can. I'm just going to turn to this side, so you can see what's happening. Keeping the feet, make sure they stay on the ground. Sometimes they'll feel like they want to lift up as we're doing this. Keep them down for now. That will be another layer that we're working towards. Your arms are like counterweights, so you can reach them forward if they're not feeling too sore holding on to things. But as we hinge ourselves back, nice long straight spine from head to tail, and then come back up. You're using your legs in that band to help you back and up again. Okay, inhale to hinge back. And exhale to bring it back up. So the space between your ribs and your hips stays exactly out the same. A little overexcited there. Elbowing chair. 3. We're going to get ready to hold that hinge back. Keep pressing out into that band, into that band. You should feel lots of side hips, side legs doing some work here. Last and final one. Hold here. Now this is where you get to lift and lower your heels up and down. Okay, so if you need to, you can lower your hands to the front or side edge of your chair to help you keep your balance. The further you are leaning back, the more your core is going to work. Let's make sure that your booty cheeks are squeezing, glutes are turned on for 3 more heel lifts, lowers 2. Keep those heels high, last 1. From there, you're going to try to lift one leg up into that band tension, lower it down. If this is too much, keep your feet flat to lift and lower. And even if your legs are not able to lift, maybe one side can lift, but the other side can't. The intention, the mindful connection of this movement is where we start to build those neural pathways, that neurogenesis that we're trying to get into. All right, we're going to add on, but we're going to take a break before we do. So plant the feet flat, come back up tall. If you need to press your hands to your hips or hinge forward, go for it. So the next layer I'm going to show you first, then we'll set up for it. So we'll be back, and as one leg lifts, we rotate towards that side. Lower it back down, turn center, and repeat. Okay? All right. So if you're already there, keep going. Arms out in front of you though for setting up with me. Hinge the body back. Lift the heels up. Make sure those glutes are turned on. Maybe even give yourself a little tiny scoop of your pelvis under you. And as the right leg lifts, we rotate everything from the hips up to the right. Lower the leg down, turn center. Lift the left leg up, and then turn center. Exhale as you twist. Inhale, untwist. If it feels more natural to inhale as you twist, go for it. Just stay consistent with the breath for 3 more each side. 2. Ooh, hips are on fire. Last 1 to the right. And then to the left. Then we bring ourselves back upright, hands to your thighs, take a forward fold, nose over toes. Okay, keep your hands onto your thighs or knees. Inhale to arch the spine, lift the heart to the sky. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin towards the chest, puff up the back. Do that one more time through that movement. Inhale as you lift and arch. Exhale as you round and curl. All right. So then band stays there. This time you're going to lower it down to your ankles. Okay, so you will definitely have some space between your legs now. So with that space, you're still pressing out. And I do want you to take more of a turned out position. So your feet, your toes have turned out so that they're facing, or the toes are turned towards like maybe 11 and 1 o'clock or 10 and 2 o'clock. So get into that turned out position. So your knees are also going to start to turn out as well. I'm going to keep them about shoulder distance apart from each other. So if they're like all the way out here, bring them back in, shoulder distance. Plant heavy through the feet, push out into that band. Your hands can hold onto the chair to help you upright as you lift and lower your heels up and down. So the higher your heels are lifting, the more I want you pressing out into that band. Again, you're going to feel it through those outer hips and legs, and a little bit now into your calves. Get those heels up and down. Last 2. All right, get ready to hold those heels lifted. Here we go. Reach those arms forward. And as you hinge back, I want you to pull your right elbow back. So now we are rotating into this with that hinge, and then punch the right arm forward. Pull the left arm back, keep that band nice and taut. Our heels are lifted. If that's too much, put your heels back down. 3 each side. So this is number 2. You can keep your fists open or hold a fist. Last 1 to the right. And forward again. Last 1 to the left. And forward again. All right, so now as we rotate, pull back and reach that right arm back behind you, like you're reaching for something in the back seat of your car. Bring that elbow back to punch forward, lower your heels. Lift your heels as you start to lean and pull your left elbow back, reach the left arm back, then bring it back up and your heels lower. 2 more each side. Hold. Heels are lifted, pushing out into that band and punch forward. Pull back, lift those hips, reach back behind you, and then come forward. Last 1 each side. Reach, bring it forward. Last 1 to the left, and then bring it forward. Go ahead and take a forward fold down to undo the band, taking it off with the ankles. And then just let it rest onto your lap for now. Okay, we're going to start to work through a little bit more side bending. So with your hands, got all this key here on me. With your hands, interlacing the fingers and bringing it to the very top back of your head. So if you were to press the head down, like if your hands are winning, your head goes down. Don't let that happen. Push the head back and lift up into your hands. So it's almost like if your hands are on top, you're lifting up into them. If your hands are behind, you're pressing back into them. So get the best of both worlds and rest the hands right at the apex of the back of your head. Elbows stay wide. Watch that they don't collapse forward or that they're not arching back. So keep them wide and the shoulders stay soft. From here, we rotate. We side bend. I'm going over to the right first, lifting my left elbow to the ceiling, keeping my left hip anchored onto the seat. Come back upright and go down to the left. Now, especially like some compensation patterns that will or can start to happen, we're trying not to. Your shoulders will start to lift up by the ears. Don't let that happen. You may start to rotate as you side bend, so don't look down to the ground. Keep your gaze forward and that top elbow stays lifted. Let's try one more each side without any of that happening. A lot to think about. So stay focused and concentrated. All right, then the add-on is we go over to the right. Reach your top arm to the sky, bring it back down behind your head, and then come back up. Over to the left. Reach, bring it down, and lift back up. So to increase the stretch, instead of reaching directly up to the ceiling, reach overhead. So your arm, your bicep is next to your ear. You'll bend that arm, bring the hand back, lift back up. So if you enjoyed that stretch, see how it feels on the other side. Back up. One more time each way. Choose your adventure. Unanimous. And then bring those hands back down. If you need to look in one direction or stretch the neck. Maybe nodding the chin towards the chest or rolling it around. And just listen to your body, be gentle through it. All right, so with the band now, you're gonna bring that band up overhead, modification out in front of your face, okay? With your elbows down by your side, tucked underneath of your hands, okay? So if you're taking that option, make sure your elbows are not back behind you, but they're up underneath of you, almost like you could just push up overhead, okay? If you're taking the option of up overhead, your shoulders are staying soft down away from your ears. So we're gonna take that side bend now. Think of your right arm pulling the left, but keeping your head evenly and equally between your arms. So as you lift back up, it's not that you're pulling the arms and your head is just like along for the ride. Keep the head right between your arms. So now your right arm pulls you back up, okay? So if you're here, there is still this pull to the right, but again, it's sort of like you don't want to floss in front of your face. Do not let that band move. So by doing this, we get that activation under the armpit to pull over to the right side, and then the activation under the left armpit to lift you back up. Those are your lats, your side obliques, a little bit of serratus, helping to stabilize through the shoulder. Last one right. Last one left. And nice. Lower those arms down, lower the band down. If you need to roll out the wrists or kind of stretch out the fingers, go for it. With that next movement, the arms will start in a slight bend, and we're gonna pull that band back so it's like pressing against your belly. But the whole point of this is thinking about driving the elbows back behind us. So as you are pulling that band against the belly, it's not that you're trying to round the shoulders forward and just get that band back behind you. Keep your posture lifted. Again, that antenna is being stretched up out of the top of your head, and you're reaching the band forward to shoulder height, pulling the band at the lower part of your belly, and your elbows are squeezing towards one another. So from the back side, your elbows do not flare out to the side, they pull back. Okay, so let's try 5 more of those. Reach the arms forward, straight, pull the arms down and back. Little tiny bend in those elbows. Reach forward, straight, pull against that lower part of your belly and keep those elbows pulling back. 3 more. We're going to repeat the same pattern now with the palms turned up. So after that last one, reach the arms forward or just, flip the grip. If you need to bring the band in, do that. But now your arms are forward, holding it out like you're serving a platter forward, and then bend the elbows to bring that band across the lower belly. Ooh, but see how my elbows want to wing? Pull them in, open up the chest, lift taller. 5 more times. Maybe if you've got something on your elbow and you're trying to scrape it off on your rib cage. 3. And 1. Very nice. All right. So with that arms reaching forward, actually, let's give the arms a little break. So if you are feeling it like more in your shoulders or your neck, do this without the band. Your palms will stay turned up, reaching forward to start. You're going to pull back with one arm and give a little tiny twist. So if you don't have the band, you can pull back as far as you want. If you do have a band that doesn't give any any give, then you're only pulling back to where you can you feel that tension holding you there. Then reach back forward, rotate to pull back. Elbow hugs in close to the rib cage for 2 more each side. As the one arm pulls back, the other arm punches forward. Now flip the grip again. So with an underhand grip, that's typically a low row. With an overhand grip, we're going to go for a high row now. So pull back, elbow goes to shoulder height, then punches forward out in front of the shoulders. If you want to go wider, you'll have a little bit more range to work for or work with if your hands are a little wider than shoulder distance. 2. 2. Last one each side. And win. Okay, the next layer of add-on is with a hinge back of your body. So you will now hinge as you pull back. I'm just demoing this first. And then the next layer after that is as you hinge back, as you pull back, as you rotate back, you will lift the leg that you are turning towards. So then you come back up, punch both arms forward, lean back, lift that leg up, and then repeat to the other side, right? So those didn't count, that was just our warm up. So roll out those shoulders if you need to. Maybe give yourself or your whole body a little shimmy from side to side. Roll out the wrists or the hands if you need to. Then you're ready, reach that band or belt out in front of you with either a high or a low row. I wanted to emphasize that. So either high or low, you know your best, your body best. Hinge back first, just into that row. 3, each side. 3. Let's keep those cheeks, the booty cheeks turned on. So pulling, think of like if you're sitting on your sits bones, pull your sits bones towards one another. And I'll get that not only pelvic floor engagement, but also a little bit more of the glutes. Last one to the left, and then we add that leg lift. So as you pull back to the right, right leg lifts, and then punch back forward, lower the leg. 3. Like you're pulling back a bow and arrow. For 2. You gotta shoot that arrow into the sky, I guess. 2. Last one on each side. And 1. And we'll come forward, take a stretch, reach down for your toes. Bring the band with you. You can just grab underneath of your feet or put the band under your feet. How we did that stretch towards sort of the middle of your class, You're pulling down and puffing up the back. Try scooping that tailbone under you a little bit more, hollowing out through the abs and allowing the head to kind of hang heavy. All right, then if your feet are stepping on that band, make sure they step off, roll yourself up nice and tall with your hands resting onto your thighs. We're not going to use the band on this next one, but hands to your thighs. As you pull your heart forward, bend your elbows out wide, sort of like a bulldog, and then press yourself away, sit back up tall. Think of like leading with the heart. As you inhale forward, elbows go wide. As you exhale away, straighten your arms, lift up. 6 more. Make sure that as we're hinging, the space again between your hips and your ribs stays the same, meaning that as you're hinging forward, you're not collapsing down and then lifting up. We're also not arching or flaring forward and then curling back. So everything stays in that straight line from head to tail. Last 2. And final 1. All right, now your left arm is going to come down onto both of your legs. Sort of like the Dos Equis guy, like, yeah, rest it. But make sure that you're not just dumping into your shoulder, press into your elbow, Lift yourself away from that shoulder and pull the shoulder back. By pulling that shoulder back, you get a little bit more rotation. And with that right arm, you're gonna rotate and think of like your Vanna White on Wheel of Fortune. You're reaching back behind you, showing off the letters, and then coming back down. So we're gonna stay on that right side 5 times into that twist. My left hand is like pulling on my right knee. My right knee is pushing into my left hand to aid and facilitate a deeper rotation. 4. Try inhaling as you rotate and twist. Watch where the hand goes. Exhale, come forward. If this is too much with the shoulder or the arm, you can always keep your hand onto your shoulder and reach your elbow back behind you. 2. If you can, getting that deeper twist all the way down from your shoulder to your fingertips, that might feel pretty good. Bring your right elbow and hand down and then lean over to the right. Again, not dumping, but lifting away. Turn yourself a little bit more to the left with your heart and then reach that left arm 5 times back behind you and then come back to look center. Right hand presses into that left knee pushes into the hand. 4. Looking for that nice chest stretch for 3. I'm also kind of getting a nice shoulder stretch on that right side. Last 2. And move on it. All right, then you come back up. Go ahead and roll out those shoulders a couple times. Let's come back to some leg work. So band, just let it come across the hips. And I want you to step your legs out as wide as you can. Okay, so we won't really be using the band yet at first, but you want to start with your feet under your knees rather than like up under or too far away. Okay, so find that 90-degree bend at your knees. Sit up nice and tall, feel your sits bones underneath of you. And like I said, at the like glute engagement cue is like pulling your sits bones closer to each other, or imagine that your feet are pressing down and trying to move closer to each other is gonna get that strong glute, a little bit of inner thigh turn on. Okay, so now that you're all turned on, ready to go, lift your heels, lower your heels. You can hold your hands onto the chair in front of you, hold the hands to the chair to the sides of you, or even a little bit more of a chest stretch, hold onto the back of your chair. 5 more of those heel lifts and lowers, but you're still focusing on those sits bones pulling towards one another. So you're really trying to get that strong connection up under your seat. Last 2. Hold your heels high on that last one. Alternate. I'm going to go down with my left, my right stays up. Alternate. Alternate. Little dance. Little puppets. Okay, then lift up both heels. Bring your hands back behind your head, again at that like top back part of your head. So you're pushing back and up into your hands. As your left heel goes down, so do you off to that left side into your side bend. Lift the heel, lift your body, lower your right, or lower to the right, and then lift back up. So now it really kind of looks and feels like very puppetish. Your body goes down, so does the right side. Last one to the left. Into that side bend, over to the right. You come back up, both heels are lifted. Now as your left heel lowers, we rotate to the left. Come back through center, lift your heel, rotate right. Center and lift. If this is starting to feel a little maybe challenging through the feet, holding that heel lift, you can go the opposite. So maybe your heel lifts as you twist and your both heels are staying down onto the ground. Last one left. Ooh, last one right. Lower the arms down, lower the heels down. You're gonna give your knees a little back and forth or side to side. Okay, so we'll work through internal rotation, which is where we are right now with the knees turned in, your feet turned out, and external rotation, which is what we felt when we had that band on the outside of our thighs. Pressing the knees out is external rotation. Turning the knees in is that internal rotation. All very important movements through the hips. So you're gonna step your feet in a little bit closer, probably about the width of your chair legs, or about like maybe a little wider than hip distance apart. My toes are turned out slightly, and you can lean into your hands back behind you, or hold yourself, use your core, or lean back into the chair behind you. You've got options, okay? So you're going to lift your heels, and turn your knees in and your heels out. Okay, then turn your heels in and your knees out. You're doing a little dance move here. All right, so some things to think about that can help you get a stronger or more firm connection into the engagement is that band. Like, you're not going to put on your legs, but imagine it's there on your legs. You're pressing out into it. And now there's a big beach ball between your thighs. Squeeze it, all of the air out as your knees come back together. Open and close 3 more times with those visual cues in mind. Whether you're inhaling to open or inhaling to close, just stay consistent with the movement, with the breath. Last and final one to open. Hold the legs together to close. Now we're going to pulse the legs together, trying to like over exaggerate the movement. You don't want to pull the legs apart. It's just softening and then affirming of that connection. Try 5 more of thinking of lifting your heels out as you push your knees together more for 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and open those legs, lower the heels, and come back upright if you're leaning up or hinging back behind you. All right, your right leg, bring it up, ankle across the thigh, and roll that ankle around. You either roll it actively or with your hand, roll it passively. Okay, then keeping your ankle where it is, right elbow presses down onto the knee to intensify the stretch. You can hinge forward to intensify the stretch. You don't even have to press on the knee. Hinging forward will also intensify. So we always got options. Oh, it feels so good. All right, so then that right leg that we were just stretching comes all the way up to the side. I'm turning myself so the corner edge of my chair is right between my legs. And to get into this internal stretch, your inside of the right foot turns down to the ground. So the sole of my foot, the bottom of my foot is no longer on the ground. It's just that big toe side of my foot that's down, and my knee is turning in. Now, to deepen the stretch, make sure you're not leaning away from the leg, but that you are lifting up or even towards the leg. And you'll start to feel, you'll know you're getting into it if you can feel that sort of like inner groin, inner thigh stretch. If you do feel any tension or pain in the knee, come out of it. Like, go ahead and come out of it. All right, let's do the other side. Right foot stays down, left ankle, the right thigh. You can stay here, nice and tall. Press into and lean forward over that left shin. You can just do the hinge forward, no arm. Or just the arm. You stay upright and you press that knee away. Good. Then we will come off to the left side, turning so that the corner edge of our chair is between the legs. You just have room. So that just gives us room to allow that internal rotation to happen at the left. Ooh, this side is way tighter. I'm feeling it, the stretch kind of wraps around the outside of my hip and comes into that inner part of my thigh. So everyone's body is different. Even like my body is different from side to side. So understanding that and how not how our body moves, because some people don't understand that, but understanding that there will be differences from right to left side. I mean, even our organs, like you have a liver on one side and like that's a big organ. You don't have that same thing on the other side. So just giving yourself grace and understanding that there will be differences. So when you're ready, open that leg, plant the foot, swing yourself back to lift forward again. And this time your right leg. So you probably want to be towards the front edge of your chair. I'm just going to put that band away. Right leg out in front of us and pull the toes up towards your nose. So from the side, you look like this. Left foot is planted and hold it there so you can use your hands to support yourself. As you hinge forward over that right leg, you'll start to feel the back of your right leg opening up or getting a stretch, maybe even all the way down into your calf. So the more your toes are pulling up towards your nose, the deeper the stretch you're going to feel. If that leg is just relaxed, you'll still feel a stretch. But if you are actively pulling the toes up, pushing your heel away, you will deepen that stretch. So this is even stretching is like choose your own adventure here. Go ahead and stand back or sit back tall, place your hands to your right thigh, stretch your left leg long. Hinge your body forward. So we hinge with a flat back, not collapsing through your spine, or even just like getting lazy through the arms that are holding you up. Okay, pulling the toes back gives us that deeper connection to the front. So in order to pull your toes up, The front shin muscle, the quad muscle has to work. So if those muscles in the front of the leg are working, the back of the leg muscles have to relax. Like if they don't, if they're both working at the same time, something's going to tear. And that's usually how muscle tears happen, if you didn't know that. Go ahead and stack the spine back tall again, bring both legs back in. Open both legs back wide again. So you're back into that position where we were doing the set with your heels lifted and lowering. But your left elbow is going to come down to your left thigh. Your right arm, if it feels right for you, reaches up overhead. Otherwise, you can bring the hand behind your head. We're here just to hold this side stretch. Reach that arm. It feels like a deeper stretch when I do. One more inhale, one more exhale. Then lifting up, taking the right arm over to the thigh, closer to the knee for a deeper stretch. So if you're here in the hip, like I'm kind of dumping into the shoulder here. And if you're here on that knee, you give yourself some room, some space, some grace to get into, that big stretch. One more inhale, one more exhale. Good. We lift ourselves back up. And so with your left elbow coming back down onto the thigh, similar movement of the side bend, but just reach the arm to the ceiling first. So not up by your ear, just to the sky. You're going to exhale and rotate down towards the toes, towards the ground, and then inhale to lift back up. Okay, if that feels too far away, just bring your hands together to get into that rotation, and then reach the right arm back up again. One more time. You choose where you're going. And then when you come back up, stack back tall, right elbow down, left arm to the sky, and rotate either down to the ground. Ooh-wee. And then lift back up. As you're rotating, make sure that left cheek, that left sits bone stays anchored onto the chair. And then lift back up. One more time. And lift back up. So then lift all the way back up. Your hands come behind you. If you cannot grab the back of your chair with both of your hands, you can also walk your feet together. But if you cannot grab the back of your chair with both hands, just choose one and lean yourself forward to allow that front shoulder and chest stretch. If you are able to do both, or both hands or two hands, lean yourself forward. You're on the front end of the Titanic. Try pulling your shoulders down and back and give yourself a gentle lift of your chin to bring your gaze up towards where the wall and the ceiling meet. And then slowly, gently lowering your chin down to your chest. Feeling that stretch now behind your neck or in between your shoulder blades. From there, stack the spine up tall. If you did do your one arm, you're going to do the other arm. Okay, so for us that did both arms, you're rolling those shoulders up, back and down, back and forward, shrugging or shimmying from side to side. Okay, and so those of you that did the one arm, go ahead and come back up. You're going to take your right arm across the chest and bring yourselves into this nice across the body stretch. Yep, grab it with your elbow and try to keep your shoulder down away from your ear. That's it. And then you'll switch sides, bringing that left arm across the body, grab it or press it with your right hand to your tricep or your elbow. And so this arm is not just like a wet noodle hanging down here, but reach it actively through the fingertips from the shoulder and set that shoulder down the back and press that arm closer to your chest. Very nice. Okay, last stretch here. Maybe roll those shoulders out if you need to. Right hand comes to left thigh, left hand comes to back of chair. So turning our whole torso, everything above the hips to the left, so that as you are twisting, you're using hand on thigh to push yourself more. You're using hand on chair to pull yourself more. One more inhale. And final exhale. Release, come all the way over to the other side, left hand to right thigh, right hand to the back of the chair. 3 breaths here, legs taller on the inhale. Stretch a little bit more, a little deeper on the exhale. One more inhale, exhale. Then as you release, look forward. If you need to give yourself some more shoulder rolls or cat and cows to the spine, listen to your body. What else is it asking for? Motion is lotion. So giving yourself this moment here to honor that in your body. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming today. I'll see y'all next time. So this was just a tester for maybe on Wednesdays if more people will show up. So